recall a news story from last year, there was some interest in the fire departments and the firefighters in California. And the interest was that there were too many white men who were firefighters, and we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters. So we have DEI, we have budget cuts, and yet I'm wondering now, if your house is burning down, how much do you care what color the firefighters are?
You can respond, and then
listen. I am so tired. You know what? There was an article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is black women. So let me be clear. Because you are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something, that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? Open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified. And the fact that we want to, at a time when people are dying, decide that a country of immigrants is failing or people are dying because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong with the White House. And I can promise you it was my ancestors that built the White House. So the fact is, stop trying to act as if only white men are the ones that are capable. Because right now you're sitting at a table with 3 very capable black women.
I'm not. I'm just simply saying that as a matter of public policy in California, the main interest in the fire department lately has been in DEI programming and budget cuts. And now we have this massive fire.
Are we really?
So as we discuss the ongoing tragedy in Los Angeles with these wildfires, a big point that a lot of people have been bringing up is DEI and potentially what effect DEI hires might have had on the sheer incompetence of both local and statewide Democratic leadership as we try to fight these fires. Now, to be clear, because I understand that this type of claim may be offensive or controversial to a lot of people, the reason why conservatives are bringing up the potential of DEI hires is not random. It is not simply because conservatives like to pick on people for no reason. It is because for the past several years, specifically, the Los Angeles Fire Department has been celebrating its commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And even you can see amidst this fire, as it's currently going on, for instance, Pride magazine is going out here saying, amid the Palisades fire, Los Angeles's first LGBTQ plus fire chief is proving that lesbians get it done. And you also see, for instance, this article right here, diversity is at the forefront as LA Fire Department fights wildfires. Now, of course, the conservative argument has long been, well, DEI hiring is destructive because instead of hiring the most qualified people to do something like, fight the fires, you're out here celebrating diversity. And while Pride magazine is touting the fact that we got the first ever lesbian fire chief, meanwhile, in reality, the fire is at 0% containment. So I just want to make it clear. People are like, how dare conservatives talk about DEI? Look, and let me actually state my position. I think DEI, it's fully possible, is playing a part in this. I don't want to make it the primary talking point, largely because it would suggest that all that's going on in Los Angeles is an issue of incompetence. And I don't think it's just incompetence. I think it's malice. I think that deliberately, in some ways, Gavin Newsom knew he could have implemented better forest and water management policies. He didn't do it. That has nothing to do with DEI. That has to do with him being very woke and very destructive. But that said, okay, I do fully understand why people are bringing up these arguments because, again, conservatives didn't pull this up out of nowhere. This is something that the very LA Fire Department was celebrating for a very long time. For instance, listen here to the assistant fire chief, Kristin Larson, talking about it herself in an older video.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Ha ha ha, slay queen. That's such a witty response. Meanwhile, not only is that your job as a firefighter to carry people out of fires, but on top of that, while we're celebrating all this diversity in the firefighting, the fire's at 0% containment. Okay, it's a complete disaster. So, maybe actually accomplish something before you celebrate your diversity. You know, don't put the horse before the carriage. And by the way, guys, we'll get to the Scott Jennings clip here in a second, but last thing I want to point out here, Patrick Bet David put this out, overpaid DEI hires according to him, and you know, you can judge this for yourself. So Janice Quinones, who is the LA Department of Water and Power CEO, which is a totally incompetent electricity department, and I say that as someone who grew up under LA Department of Water and Power. Okay, they suck, they're terrible, but she is making $750,000 a year. Gee, that seems like a whole lot, right? It goes on. Kristin Crowley, who is being celebrated currently as the first LGBTQ fire chief, is making $439,000 a year. Christina Kepner, the first lesbian assistant fire chief in the LA Fire Department, is making $264,000 a year. And the LA Fire Department's first black lesbian equity bureau chief, okay, they have an equity bureau in this fire department, is making $399,000 a year. These people are literally bordering on being in the top 1% of wealth generation in society. And it's all for what? Okay, for instance, $400,000 a year for the equity bureau chief. Equity bureau, really? That's what a fire department needs. So this is what Scott Jennings recently brought up on a CNN panel. And take a listen here as Democrat Congresswoman, a very woke person, Jasmine Crockett, absolutely melts down at him. It's a spectacle to watch. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe if you are new. And with that said, here is Scott Jennings bringing up the potential of DEI that we just provided you the receipts on, and Jasmine Crockett is not happy.
Recall a news story from last year. There was some interest in the fire departments and the firefighters in California, and the interest was that there were too many white men who were firefighters, and we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters. So we have DEI, so we have budget cuts, and yet I'm wondering now, if your house is burning down, how much do you care what color the firefighters are?
You can respond, and then we'll...
Listen, I am so tired. You know what? There was an article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is black women. So let me be clear.
So first of all, her defense is that the most educated demographic in this country is black women. Now, that's not really true, okay? We're going to actually break down that statistic in a second. But first and foremost, what I want to say is, okay, what does that have to do with firefighting? Like, firefighting, your job as a firefighter is not about whether you have a college education. It's about, you know, physical skills, maybe a mental toughness, whatever. But what does that have to do with education, first and foremost? But anyways, we'll debunk it in a second. Here's the rest of the clip.
You are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something. That has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? Open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified. And the fact that we want to, at a time when people are dying, decide that a country of immigrants is failing or people are dying because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong with the White House. And I can promise you it was my ancestors that built the White House. So listen, if we have been good enough to build this country, we are good enough to serve and die overseas, we are good enough to serve in other ways. And the fact that people actually decide that they want to engage in public service, whether it's sitting in Congress or whether it's serving on the fire department or the police department, should not be an issue. The fact is, stop trying to act as if only white men are the ones that are capable. Because right now you're sitting at a table with three very...
Well, again, okay, she just goes on this completely like manic tangent about a bunch of different things. Oh, black people built the White House. Okay, but the point being made is exactly about qualifications. You saw, as I brought up earlier in the video, how much money these people are making. And the overall situation here is, you can say that. You can say they're doing such an amazing job. But again, I want to reiterate, these fires are at like 0% containment. Okay, the situation is completely out of hand. And a lot of people are bringing up, you know, the lack of resources in the fire department, potential incompetence on the part of the state of California. So I'm just saying here, okay, maybe, again, Don't go around celebrating these people when they're objectively doing a bad job. Because when, again, you have a total disaster situation and conservatives see left-wing outlets celebrating the fact that we have lesbians running the fire department of Los Angeles, that's when people start to make the DEI accusations. Do you understand that? Just saying.
Very capable black women.
I'm not. I'm just simply saying that as a matter of public policy in California, the main interest in the fire department lately has been in DEI programming and budget cuts, and now we have this massive fire.
Are we really? But Scott, are we really blaming the fire department? The people in the LA fire department.
No, I'm blaming the Democrats who run the state.
No. But the fire department right now, they are dealing with a historic fire. Okay,
and they have terrible leadership.
That is caused by climate, by the fact that it is extremely dry in the state of California, and they are fighting it in tropical force winds in that state.
Yeah, so a lot to unpack there. Notice how there's just a bunch of diversions. Like Jasmine Crockett is talking all about how black people built the White House. Therefore, how dare you criticize DEI hiring in the fire department? Again, she wants to say they're qualified. They're qualified. Well, again, we just showed you that top person in the fire department being interviewed, and they asked, could you carry my husband out of a fire, which is a fundamental job of being a firefighter. Hence, largely, by the way, why most firefighters are men, because it's a job that, I'm sorry, objectively requires physical strength. And she gives this like ridiculous joking answer implying that she can't actually do it. Like she's not actually qualified for the job. Okay. So that's number one. But she goes off to say that Abby Phillips is making it all about climate change, which we've addressed before. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. And lastly, like I said, I don't want to really honestly go too much into this because it was a really stupid statement that she made and it has nothing to do with firefighting. But just as a statement of fact, her claim that black women are quote unquote the most educated people in America is not true, right? The statistic she's allegedly trying to bring this from actually makes no sense whatsoever. What it actually says is that among their own racial group, black women are more educated than black men, as you can see here, right? What is true is that black women in the 2009 academic year received a higher percentage of degrees within their race and ethnic group than did women in any other major group. So, for example, of all the master's degrees awarded to black students, black women got 71% of them. In comparison, only got 62% of all white MA degrees. Here is the chart, by the way, if you want to take a look. So essentially, again, that statistic is not true. It's totally misleading. All this statistic that she's trying to cite even says is that black women are way more educated on average, you know, per capita, whatever, than black men. Okay, it doesn't mean raw as a whole, they're the most educated people in America. Again, it's just not true. Like she's making up fake statistics, and that's what the original people who made this the stat wanted to do. The conclusion is bogus. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm not going to get too much into that because it's irrelevant. The overall point here is this. Again, guys, I'm going to say, do I personally think DEI is the chief cause for this disaster? No, because as I said before, I don't think it's just incompetence. I think it is malice. It is maliciously bad policy by the Democrats running the state of California, which is to say, this is not an issue if they're incapable. No, they know exactly what they're doing. But with that said, do I think it's fair to raise this question when the LA Fire Department openly goes around celebrating its diversity, and the next thing you know, there's no water in the fire hydrants and you have this total disaster on your hands, and you have the assistant fire chief literally saying that she cannot carry people out of a fire? In that case, yes, I think it is fair to bring up these criticisms. But with that said, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.